Alright, so we have a fantastic fight here. It's Jung, the Korean zombie, versus Dan Ige. So I believe uh, Korean zombie, I think he has the height advantage. He's for sure not 5'7". I've trained at his gym in Korea, and I've met the guy, and he's not 5'7" for sure, because I've got a friend that's 5'7", and he's much taller than that. I'd say he's around 5'9", close to 5'10", maybe 5'9.5". But yeah, I think the size difference in this fight is going to look similar to the Korean Zombie versus Frank Yeager, because I think that's closer to Dan Ige's height, and the size differential will be quite obvious in the weigh-ins. But right now they're listed as both 5'7", which is just not factually correct. And he has had a bit of a layoff. Well, he's not a layoff, but he's just been very inactive over his UFC career, basically. He's had 6 fights in 8 years, so, he hasn't been the most active fighter. Dan Ige's definitely been more active. He's probably started his career 8 years ago, and he's probably had, double the fights, but I haven't checked that, but yeah, it's probably correct. We'll break down the striking of these two guys first. So for Korean Zombie, he never takes a backward step. He doesn't like taking a backward step at all. He's always coming forward. He has his hands low to kind of bait his opponents in so he can look for the counter. He is predominantly a counter striker. He likes his counters. And for Dan Ige, he's quick. He's got fast hands. He's quick on his feet. He's very agile. Zombie has fast hands too, for sure. I wouldn't say there's a huge speed advantage for either fighter. I think they're both very quick. They've both got very fast hands. And for Dan Ige, he's always moving, he's always using his footwork at range, and then he'll kind of blitz in with a combination, or he'll wait for the opponent to close distance, and then he'll just plant his feet, throw a counter 2-3 or a 3-2, or another 2-punch combination, but he really likes that 2-punch combination when the opponent does try and close distance. But he does need to be in the pocket for his striking. For the type of strikes that he likes to use, he needs to be in the pocket. And that plays into Zombie's counter game quite well. And Zombie does have a nice counter 2, nice counter uppercut. He'll mix that in with a boxing combination. I think that's what he dropped Dennis Bermudez with, a really nice uppercut. And he does have a stiff jab as well that he will use just to kind of, break the momentum of the opponent and just flick something out while he's getting his reads at distance. Both these guys don't mind mixing in the takedowns. For Dan Ige, a lot of his takedowns are reactive. Kind of a reactive blast double when his opponent's try and close the distance. When he tries to set up his own takedowns, he doesn't cut an angle on his drive and double, just tries to really drive it through and then kind of just fall over his opponent by tripping both their legs. He will, it's called cheating the finish, as DC would say, but he tries to fall onto his knees and just hopes the opponent will just fall down with him, and he ends up on top. And if you kind of stuff the takedown if you give him a bit of resistance on the takedown, he will pull guard for some reason, and I'm not sure why, because he doesn't seem like he has a great bottom game, so I'm not sure why he does that. But Korean Zombie, he does have a very underrated grappling game. He has smooth transitions on top, he has a vast arsenal of submissions, he will posture up and throw heavy ground and pound when he's in the guard or when he's got you flattened out, and he's got heavy hands, so it's heavy ground and pound. His takedowns are okay too. He likes the body lock to the outside leg trip mostly to get the fight to the mat, but he likes to keep it on the feet as well. I think these guys are going to bang, probably. How these guys win fights, so for Dan Ige, I think he has a bit of pop in his hands, definitely, as we saw in the Gavin Tucker fight, but yeah, he's got a bit of pop in his hands too. He's got high fight IQ, he knows how to win decisions over technically and physically superior opponents like Edson Barboza, Mirsad Bektik, guys like that who have clear advantages over him in a lot of aspects, but in the stand-up, Dan Ige, he was pressuring Edson Barboza, which is what you have to do, and he wasn't letting off the gas, so he knows what he has to do. He comes in with good game plans, and he sticks with them for the full 15 minutes. And for Jung, he's got KO power in his right hand. Both these guys have power. He has good pacing in 5-round fights. He has good takedown defense as well. He's got a granite chin, very well documented that. How these guys lose fights, so for Jung, it's the striking tendencies. He's very liable to be hit clean. I'll just bring up a few of the striking tendencies. He's very flat-footed. He has little to no head movement. He is quite heavy on the lead leg. He is prone to leg kicks, and Ige doesn't generally throw them, but you know, it could be a problem in the future. And, you know, Ige kind of likes to stay at range. Just the way that Ige's in and out with his combinations doesn't really give him the opportunity to throw the leg kicks, but it could be a good thing to mix in maybe. But it's more just for future opponents. For Dan Ige, it's generally when he's matched up with better strikers with good takedown defense. I'm talking Calvin Kattar, Edson Barbosa, Julio Arce, and I put Edson Barbosa in there because I thought he lost the fight, but he won it on the paper, on the judges' scorecards, I guess. But he has a tough time when he is faced up with that type of fighter, and he also doesn't look great off his back, which we talked about before. Path to victory for these two. For Dan Ige, look to let Chan Sung Jung lead the fight, so make him go first, and then look to counter. But just try and get him, going first, and then opening up his game, so you can look for your counters as well. But just be very defensively responsible when you do enter the pocket. And look for body work. The guy's got a granite chin. Look to really hurt the body first, and then you can go up top. But also leg kicks as well. I know he doesn't really throw them, I mentioned that before, but I think it could be a good weapon here. And if you do have him hurt, just be careful to not punch yourself out if you do have him hurt, because he's very durable. He's very hard to get out of there. So if you punch yourself out in round 1 or 2, it's going to be a tough round 4 and 5. So just be careful, just be mindful of that at the back of your head when you do get him hurt. For the Korean Zombie, I think a counter-striking game plan would be good here. Let him come to you and then look for your counters from there. I feel like the uppercut would be on that you caught Bermudez with when he does change levels in the pocket, because he does get quite low in the pocket. If you throw that uppercut, I feel like it's going to connect a few times. And also, if he tries to take you down, look to punish him after you do stuff the takedown. I think Dan Ige is going to have a hard time taking down Korean Zombie. Look to reverse that takedown and then punish him on top position. Jump on him if he just slips or just falls on his ass at any point in the fight. Just look to obtain top position on this guy, because I don't think his bottom game is very good. So I think you can really dominate on top. But yeah, look to slip his blitz, or just clinch up when he does blitz in, and then look for the body lock trick from there. Same thing that you attempted on Dennis Bermudez when Dennis Bermudez was blitzing. So I think, yeah, that could be a good weapon here. So how I see the fight going, the first round is going to be edge of your seat stuff. Both these guys like to get going early. Both have the power to put each other out cold, put anyone out cold really in the division. And both like to exchange in the pocket. I think it's going to be like two cars just smashing into each other head on at 100 miles per hour. That's what it's going to be like every time these guys exchange. And I say the first round because that's how long I think the fight lasts. However long the fight lasts, they're just going to keep crashing into each other and just exchanging in the pocket, and it's going to be just edge of your seat stuff the whole time. In regards to his last performance, I'm going to take Zombie at his word that he was concussed after that spinning elbow in round 2 from Ortega. He looked like he was just starting to warm into the fight, and he was tagging Ortega just before he got caught by that spinning elbow, and he didn't look like himself after that. No real killer instinct, just kind of looked to survive, I think, just because, he was just in survival mode for the rest of that fight. So I'm not willing to write him off as a contender in this division just after that performance. But, getting outstruck from Brian Ortega isn't a great look. But this is a totally different matchup. Ige is going to give him the counter opportunities that he wants, and he's going to give Korean Zombie the fight that he wants. He's going to come to Korean Zombie and not make Korean Zombie chase him. And he's just going to give him a lot of counter opportunities in the pocket. And he's going to fight him in the pocket, not just stick on the outside and point fight like Brian Ortega did. Both have the one-punch knockout power to put anybody out, but Korean Zombie's chin is just OP, it's very hard to hurt this guy. And if you do get him hurt, he has an uncanny ability to, survive after he does get hurt. And if Dan Ige does try to attempt any takedowns in this fight, I honestly don't think it's going to be successful. I think it's going to turn out terrible for him, actually. I think if he has improved his double leg technique, I think Chan Sung Jung would reverse it and then do damage on top. And if Chan Sung gets on top, I feel like there's going to be a lot of damage being dealt out by the Korean Zombie. I think Ige's pace slowed late against Calvin Kattar, whereas Korean Zombie, he has the pacing of a 5-round fight on lock. And I think Korean Zombie can outlast him if the fight does go long, but as I said before, I'm expecting someone to just die in the first round. So I'm not expecting the fight to go long, but if it does, I think he can outlast him in that way as well. let's have a look at the betting lines. Alright, so the prediction is Korean Zombie. I think he finds the KO in round 1. Bets I was looking at, Korean Zombie, the money line at the moment, I favour him around 60% of the time, so I think anything above $1.80 I do like at minus 125. Yeah, I like that. So I like the money line at the moment, hoping Dan Ige gets to a favourite, and I can bet Chan Sung Jung as a dog. I'd really like that. Other props I was looking at, let's have a look. Fight starts round 2. I don't think it's going to start round 2, so maybe $5 would be worth a poke. You know, I don't like to bet those type of props anyway, but you know, maybe some chump change on it, maybe just for fun. Other props, nah, maybe Jung by submission. You know, he's got very good submissions, and Dan Ige doesn't look great off his back. But yeah, $13 probably seems a little bit wide to me, but nah, yeah, I like the money line anyway. That's what I'm gonna bet. But yeah, that's what I think of the fight, and it should be a great one. Can't wait to watch it.